Hi, this is Marcel of Marcel on Tech, and today I am talking about possibly my new favorite Samsung Galaxy device. Now, any of you that have been watching the channel for a while will know that I absolutely love and still remains my favorite, the Samsung Note 10 Plus 5G, which this device still sits in my pocket as my daily driver because I just haven't found anything that really replaces it. But the S25 Ultra may just have done it. Let's get into it. So this video is not going to be about the specs and all that kind of stuff. This phone has been out for quite some time now, so all of that's been done. This is about my user experience, having experienced all of the lineup of the last 5 generations, to be honest, still rocking the Note 10 Plus 5G, which I bought about 3 years ago, so I didn't even buy it brand new at that point. But I was so impressed and have continued to be so impressed by this device that I had to compare it. Now, the S24, good upgrade, but not really an absolutely necessary one. And I had a lot of people recommending and commenting on that video. I'll put a link to it up above here because it was really popular, because there's a huge following, almost it seems, for this amazing device. And it still works brilliantly well for me, even though I'm using it with other devices on a daily basis. But I wanted to talk about my personal experience with this device, what the strengths are and what I think the weaknesses are. So getting into the strengths, because there are a lot of them and there are more than there are weaknesses, because they really have defined this device brilliantly well. So of course, we're going to be talking about the operating system, which of course is the Samsung One UI, which is running on Android 15. And the One UI software, I think, is one of the best, most practical, well laid out software programs for any Android device in the world. I absolutely love it. It's very versatile. You can add more flexibility with Good Lock, but it just works. Everything is super duper seamless and very quick, but also editable if you want it to be. Now, this device does have a lighter body, so I was very pleased to pick this up in comparison to the S24 Ultra, which really felt like a bit of a behemoth. And there was a phase, I think, with both iPhone flagships and Samsung flagships where they were going very large, very thick, and very heavy as well, which does make it feel quality. That's the only thing I would argue is worthwhile for it to be. Other than that, it's a massive lump in your pocket. It feels quite uncomfortable. And it's a bit annoying. This S25 has finally gotten a little bit lighter. It's only about 10 grams lighter than the S24, but you can feel it. It does feel different. And they've also made the body smaller with less curved edges, which basically means it's much smaller in the hand as well. A little bit smaller, sorry, not much smaller. And therefore also lighter weight. Screen to body ratio is absolutely amazing. It's like 98%. It's absolutely bonkers. And of course, the panel is fantastic. And what I love is that it has the anti-reflective coating over the top of it, which just works. And to be honest, it's something that should be on all screens, from laptops to computers to smartphones. It's so practical. It doesn't change the quality of the image. It doesn't make it any darker. It just prevents reflection. So if you live in a bright area like I do, then you can actually see the screen really easy without heavy reflections coming from the screen that you're using. And it doesn't have to push the colors up quite so much and use therefore more battery life. But this lends into the battery life, which is really good. I can now go through a day and a half of heavy use on this device. You're never going to get 2 days out of this, unfortunately, despite having a large battery of 5,000 milliamps. It's not going to get you through more than 2 days, or at least not me. But it definitely gets me through a day and a half. So that means I don't have to charge it regularly or particularly at night. I can plug it in at home in the morning before I come to work. And within 30 minutes, it's got around 80%, because the super fast charging means that it can load up really quick within an hour, fully charge it, which is really handy. But of course, you've got wireless charging, which is faster. Not the fastest, but faster than it was, with 15 watts. So that is pretty good too. Now, I really love the unlockability of this device. So obviously you've got the ultrasound fingerprint reader, and you have the Face ID unlock as well, which is brilliant. It works really, really well. I'm very, very pleased with it. You literally pick up the device. If you have raise to wake, it will detect your face instantly. And again, I liken this to something like an iPhone, which is notoriously excellent and has slightly stronger security. But I've tested this with photos, and it definitely doesn't unlock with a photo of me. And it will only open, obviously, if my eyes are open as well, which is a setting that you can select. Because it does have quite a large body, there is an advantage, and that exists both for iPhones as well, and it does for the Samsung Ultra modes as well, which is speaker quality. Now, by comparison to Note 10 Plus, the speakers are definitely not as rich or as powerful as the Ultra. They really are worlds apart. This is fantastic for media consumption. I actually never take it above 50% volume because it's too loud. Very often, unless I'm outdoor in a loud area where it would play and I would still be able to hear it. If I'm indoors, if I'm at home, if I'm watching it in my office or in bed, for example, I never need to go above 50, even sometimes no more than 25%. The volume on this is excellent. So for media consumption, absolutely brilliant. Of course, the reason I'm not mentioning the Note 10 is because by comparison, almost everything is much better on, of course, S25. But is it worth the upgrade? And finally, it would appear that Samsung have done something so significantly better that it is worth the upgrade. I didn't say that with the S24, but I think I can say that with this S25 because it really is a nice design. I like how grippy it is. I do like rounded edges, but this just looks more refined, feels very quality in the hand. The camera bumps really are quite protruding. They really, really are quite excessive, to be honest. For some reason, they've made the ring around the camera even larger than it was on the S24 Ultra. But the camera quality is undeniable. It's absolutely brilliant, so you can't go wrong. And then in terms of one of the main features of this is AI. I'm not going to go into AI because AI is a huge video in itself. And if you want an AI video on this device, then obviously let me know, put a comment below. I'd love to hear. But the reality is, to be honest, the AI integration for the Samsungs on any mobile device is probably one of the best, particularly for photo editing. Samsung have absolutely nailed it. They are better than Google and they are way better than Apple. Apple seems to have got completely confused as to how to do AI. So this device will present you with daily briefings. So it will appear at the bottom of the screen the whole time, especially on always on display, or when you obviously lift up the device to see the lock screen, you will have what's called a daily brief. Now that is apparently a very curated, highly intelligent briefing system that tells you about what's going to happen in your day, what the weather might be like. It might show you some flashbacks from photos as well. So it's a curation of what your day is supposed to look like. It's clearly version 1. It's not particularly useful. It does know, obviously, what time of day it is. So it'll say morning briefing, midday briefing, evening briefing, etc. And then it will give you updates on, for example, your calendar. But usefulness, again, it's very early days version. I would say if it was more preemptive, if it was looking towards letting you know about what the weather might be, or obviously any traffic updates and things like that. I've got all the services toggled on, but I haven't found anything particularly useful about that service. So it's a bit meh. It's there, but it's meh. Now, depending on whether you like boxy design, I'm not a huge fan of very sharp edges, but there is something about it. I do understand the appeal. It does make holding and gripability really, really good. It gives you a flat screen for viewing, so the viewing angles are absolutely excellent, but it is a very boxy design, and that's personal preference as to whether you like that or whether you like the rounded edges more. It does, as a result of that, of course, have slightly sharper edges, but that's quite good for gripability, and I really do like the color that this comes in which case this is the blue, this frosted blue, and I do like the fact that it is a frosted back. It's a little bit fingerprinty, but it's pretty good. Now, I obviously appreciate the fact that they still do have a stylus within the phone, but I have to appreciate the fact that they've taken away the Bluetooth. And it is a great shame that they did that, because whilst you're not going to be using the stylus regularly, it might go a week or two without using the stylus, that functionality of the Bluetooth was very unique and really handy, particularly for a remote function on the camera. That was very, very helpful. My assumption is Samsung realized that not many people were using it for that, so they decided to save some money and took it out of the pen. But that's a feature set they've taken away. How much does that impact my usage? Like 10% or less. So it's not a big problem, but it is a shame they've taken that away instead of continuing to add that to a very expensive product, which of course is my finale experience, which is that this device cost me just over 1,400 euros, and that is a lot of money. So you are getting, in my experience, probably one of the best Android devices on the market. If you are still running an old device, which is no longer running any of the new software security updates, and you've been clinging onto this device for as long as you can, then I would say you will notice a significant upgrade bump if you go to this device. And I had a lot of people asking in my previous video about my comparison with the S24, about whether they should upgrade. And I would say that this device, which is light years ahead, we're talking 4-5 years later, is finally worth the upgrade. This is a fantastic device, both from hardware and software standpoint, with very few negative sides to it, the ones of which I've mentioned, and that really is nitpicking as well. The screen is fantastic, battery life is fantastic, the cameras are the best, video quality is fantastic, and this device will last you, as we know from a security standpoint, another 7 years, as long as obviously the hardware does, and so on. So absolutely brilliant device, really enjoyed using it. Of course, I would always recommend a case. I bought this MagSafe case because these magnets are absolutely brilliant for positioning in your car or for charging. Of course, it has a wireless coil, so you can, of course, charge as well. I'll put links to both of these devices and the case in my description. But if you agree or disagree with anything I've said, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye-bye for now.